Hello friends, how are you doing today? So in this video I'm going to show you a tiny app script project here. So here we have a spreadsheet here, and if you are using Google Spreadsheet a lot, sometimes you maybe need to use a drop-down list like this. But if you want to make the multiple drop-downs have some kind of relationship and they are dependent to each other, so it's going to be a headache, I have to say. It's not easy to do, I think, in Google Spreadsheet, right? So today's video, I'm going to show you how to solve this problem. Okay, so basically, let's say we'd like to do, if I select a region here for AP, I should have a drop-down list for this cell, okay, with a country like this. And if I change it to EMEA, I should have a list of countries which is only for EMEA. So you can do things like this, right? So basically these two drop-downs are dependent. This country is dependent on this region. Okay, so this is a problem we're trying to solve here. All right, so let's first open the script editor and let me show you how to create a simple script to do the task for you. All right, so let's first name this, rename this project. This is a nice video for live coding, so I rename it to LC009. And the first function we need to create is this onEdit function here. And this function is going to take a parameter called event, but you can name this parameters any name you like. So for short, we usually use E, short for event. Okay, so let's do some comments here for this function. So basically this is the trigger function. When a cell is edited in your spreadsheet, okay? So every time you edit any cell in the spreadsheet, it's going to trigger this function, okay? So if I do a console log here for this event object, so you will see, so if I change this AP to EMEA, here you cannot see anything, but if you go to the executions, let me open this. So here you can have all the logs here. So let me open another tab to show you, to show them side by side. So here, this trigger, this is a function. So in this object, in this event object, okay, we have some properties here like the user, and the most important information we are trying to use is the value, because we have a new value and the old value. So the old value is going to be AP, and the new value is EMEA, and this is source. And this range is also very important. In this range, you're going to have a column and column star, row and row star. So all of these information are very, very important. We're going to use them to do our task. Okay. So first of all, we have a parameter here, which is object, which is the event. And I'd like to grab the range. So eRange, and is this range property here? This range is also object, is a special object. The spreadsheet app range object. Okay, so this is the type for this range. And for now, I think that's enough for this, for the comment. here I'm going to return nothing, so it's void. So this is a function we're trying to use. So before we start, first step, we need to make sure this change is one single cell added change, because sometimes if you select multiple cells, you do the change, it's going to be a change for a region, for a range. Okay, so we only need to catch the change in one single cell. Okay, so for that, I'd like to grab the range, which is the e.range, and we're going to have a row star, row end, column star, and the column end, which is from this range object. So remember, in this range, we have all of these properties. Okay, and we also can have the value, which is e.value, right? You can put it here. So this value is a string e.value, or you even can have the old value here. So it's also a string. So this is for the value. And first of all, if row start is not equal to row end, so in this case, that means you have multiple rows added, right? This is a situation, a scenario, we don't want to do anything, so we just return. It's going to break this function here. And with the same logic, if the column start is not equal to column end, we also, end of the process, right? We're going to return here. And this is the first two steps we need to check to make sure the change in this cell is a single cell, right? So if I do a console log here, don't have to do it. And here I'd like to call another function to update cell validation. So this is, and here in this function, we're going to have some parameters here, like we're going to have a target cell object, and not target cell, we're going to have a current cell, current cell object, and then we're going to have a target cell object, and then we're going to have a data source. Let's say if you want to update the countries, we're going to have an object like this. We have a region object with a list of countries, things like that. So we have an object which is basically the data source. Okay. So for now, I'd like to hard code the data source here. So const region, because we're trying to test the region, is going to object. And we have some properties here. So for EMEA, which is a country of EMEA, so let's say EMEA 1, EMEA 2, or maybe some countries in EMEA, France, Finland, no, Denmark, so countries like this. So for AP, let's say we have Japan, China, Thailand. Okay, so this is our data source, right? So for the data source, I'd like to replace it with this region. So this current cell is not defined. So this is object. We're going to have a value, right? And the row star, row end, and we're going to have a sheet. So this is going to be the range dot get sheet. This is our, so basically the current cell is located. Okay, this is the target. This is current cell, and const target cell. For this target cell, I'd like to check if this basically you added something in this tab, right? I need to make sure first is that this tab name is the tab we try to use, because you can have added on this tab. Okay, so for this test, I'd like to make sure this data name, the tab name is data. Okay, so name is data, and added column. Okay, I need to make sure the added column is column D, right? If you do a change here, I don't want to do anything. Only if you do added on this column D, I want to execute the code. So added column is column D, which is 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And I'd like to check if you do a change here, I don't want to change anything. So I want to say edit row start. Edit row start, so means we start from the second row. Okay, so edit row start, which is 2. So basically only the edit on this tab in column D and start from the second row. Then I'm going to execute the code and update the data validation in the cell here, right? If you added this cell, I'm going to update here. And if you do change here, nothing happened. Change here, we do nothing. Okay. So this is the target cell. And I'm going to do a row offset. So this row offset, if we want to do the change for this cell, the row offset is 0. If we want to update this cell, the row offset is going to be 1. And the column offset is also 1. So if you want to update this cell, row offset is 0, and the column offset is 2. Okay, so this is offset, row offset 0, and column offset, which is 1. Okay, so this is our target cell object. And here I'm going to check. Okay, so this function is not defined yet. So let's try to create a function called update cell validation. Function. So this is the current cell and target cell and data source, or call it data. Okay. Let's give some space here, or maybe we can collapse this function here. So for this current region, we can define, we can describe this object here. Okay, so add parameter, which is object, which is the current cell, and we have the target cell object, and we also have a data, which is also an object, which is a region in this case. So let's make a copy. Let's see what we have here. For this current cell, we have a value, which is a string. We have something row star, column star, column star, row star, which is number, column star, which is also a number, and we have a important value here, which is a spreadsheet sheet object. Okay, so this is for the current cell object, and for the target cell, we have some values here. So the first one is a name. The name is a string, and added row, we have added row, added column, which is a number, and edit row start, which is also a number, and we have a row offset, we have a column offset, data is object, no issue with that, and this function return nothing, so it's void. Okay, so this is to describe this function, and it's going to help us to use it a little bit easier. So in this function, let's go to check. So if current cell sheet get name is not equal to target cell dot name. So basically, if the cell you added, the name of the cell added is not equal to data, so I mean you do some edit here, so this tab name is demo, right? It's not equal to data, we're going to ignore. We're going to return the function here, so this function is going to do nothing, right? And if current cell row star, so this is the row you added, right? If less than target cell dot added row start, because we start from row 2, right? So target cell added row star, only the added start from is greater than 2, row 2, then we do the change here. So if you do a change here in row 1, we're going to ignore, right? So in this case, if the current cell row start is less than target cell added row start, so going to return here. And finally, if current cell dot column start is not equal to target cell dot column, then I'm going to return, because if you do a change here, I don't want to update this column, right? Only if the column you added is column 4, which is here, right? We do the change. So this is the steps we'd like to check first before we do the change to the cell. All right, now we can update the data validation for the cell. And first of all, let's say target range is equal to current cell sheet.get range. We are going to have a row. The row we're going to be current cell dot row star plus target cell dot row offset, right? And const column is current cell dot column start target column offset. So basically, this is how we use the offset. So this offset here right now is 0, and the column offset is 1. So basically, same row, but the column plus 1. So that means the cell on the right hand here beside the cell, right? So this is our target cell, target range. And as you see the column, we get the target range, okay? And I'd like to update the data validation here, right? So target range dot get set data validation, so this is not defined. Const data validation equal to spreadsheet dot new data validation, and from required, I think it's called required value in list. So this list is going to be items. So this items is not defined here, so const items should come from this data object and current cell dot value. So current cell value is basically EMEA or AP, okay? And this data is basically you assign here this region. So if the value is EMEA, you're going to get a list for EMEA countries. If the value is AP, you're going to get a list for AP countries, right? And I'd like to check the items first. So if items, if there is no items found, we're going to return, okay? Just in case there is no items. And if we do have items, we're going to create the data validation. And finally, let's build this data validation and set it to the data validation here. And target range, set value. I'd like to clear the data here, so set to null. So just in case you have some old value here, you do a change here, I'd like to clear the data here. So let's try to check if this is working. No. Let's check the log here. No log. Maybe something is wrong, so I need to do some debug here. That's not an easy part. So let's console.log. So first, this is the first log. Let's check if this first log can be logged out here. So let's change it to AP, EMEA. Nothing happened here. Okay, we have a event here, and then let me check if we can see the log. Okay, that means the first log is working. At least we don't have issue before this log. Okay, so let's remove it, and the issue I think is happened here. Let's try to do a log here, console log. First, second, third, and the last. Okay, EMEA. No, AP. All right, so first, second is working, but it looks like it's returned after the second. So that means this is returned here. So current cell row star, I think this should be greater or equal. No. So current cell row star, target cell added row. So our target cell added row star is 2. So if our current cell is less than, that's weird. So let's try to do a log here for these values. That's pretty weird. Current cell row star, current target. Okay, let's try to do it this time. Let's check what happened. So the row, that's weird. So the row is 4, current cell is 4, and target is 2. 4. Okay, not the error not happened here. I'm sorry. So the third was because we have the log for the third, right? So that means we have issues here. If current cell start column is not equal to target cell, edit column, then return. Current cell, that's weird. So let's try to do a log here. I'm sorry about that, but this is live coding. So let's try to check if this is true or false. And current column and target column. Let's check what kind of values we can see here. EMEA. No trigger, no data. That's pretty weird. Let's refresh. Okay, so you see the issue. Current column is undefined. So that means current cell column start is not defined. All right, I see the issue. So current cell row start, but I didn't pass the column start. I should put a column start here, and I don't need to have this row n here. So let's try to do this again. EMEA and France. EMEA, France, change to AP. Clear the value, and then you have a list of other countries, right? AP, China, EMEA, Finland, EMEA. Okay, so right now it's working fine, okay? So we can get all of these logs. Remove it. By the way, I'm press Control X to remove the line. It's just shortcut. Okay, so this thing right now is working fine, okay? I think the code right now is working fine. But what if you don't want to hard code the regions here? You want to get it from a list of items, right? Maybe you want to get the item from here, right? That's something you can do, of course. But let me show you another stuff, how to use this script. Because for you, the target range may be not here, not in column D and E, like this way, all right? So let's say we have another tab here. What if I want to select the region here and select the column here, okay? So we can do it very easily. So this is the target cell. As I named it, this is a target cell for demo, okay? And let's rename it. So I need to define another target cell and demo. And I need to call this function again. Current cell and target cell demo. And the data source, you could use a different data source for this demo, okay? But right now, I'm not going to handle it here right now. So I will need to change the name to demo. So because this is our target, we want to check here. And the added column, which is 1, and added row star is also 2. The 1 means you add it in column A, right? And there's a row offset, which is 1, which is 0, no change. The column in offset. Maybe let's change it to 2 and see what happened here. Okay, so if I do a change here for EMEA, as you can see here, I have this data copied from this 2. So that's why this is 2 and change it to 1. And if I change it to AP, not API, AP, so EMEA, AP, right? And you can even use this to do a multiple level dropdowns. And maybe you can check the change. You can catch the change from this cell, and then you do another update. Maybe let's try to do, but that's weird. But you can do the multiple levels. It looks like they're basically recursive, okay? So things like that. So this is about how to do multiple check, because this right now is working here, and if you do the change here, it also working here, right? So basically it can work anywhere, or maybe we can have another data source. Maybe let's make a copy of this. Say this is region demo, and I'd like to do North America region. Add an A here for North America, and I put Canada and the US here, right? So I can replace this region here, and right now I can have NA here, not NA, NA, North America here, and I should have US and Canada here. So you see the flexibility here. You can separate the data source. You can have different drop-down list, multiple dependent drop-down list. And I think that's very interesting. So if I try to do things like this, so let's say we have a 3 level, we have a region. So let's try to do it like this way. So maybe I don't know. Let's say demo capital or cities. Let's say city demo. Let's say France. You have Paris. I don't know what else do we have in France. So basically, I'm going to do a France 1 like this. So make it simple like this to show you how to do a multiple level. Okay, so we have Finland. So this is Finland 1. We have Denmark. So this is Denmark 1. Then we have Japan. Japan 1. We have China. China 1. And we have Thailand. So this is Thailand 1. And then we have Canada. So basically, I assume you have a list for all the cities in this country, right? And what we can do here, we can do another target cell, city demo. We also apply to this demo tab and edit column. Right now, this is 2, because we want to, when you do the change for the country, I'd like to update the drop-down list for the cities, right? And edit row start, no change for that. And I need to call this function and current cell and target cell, city demo, and the region. So right now this is a city demo, okay? We are using the data source from this city demo. And I hope this can work. So let me change this to, do we have Thailand? Yes, we do have Thailand. So let's change it to Thailand. So why is Thailand is China 1? Okay, so this Thailand is not Thailand 1, it's China 1. But as you can see here, you can have, let's say we change it to Finland. There is no Finland. Finland. This is weird. Let's try to Japan. Japan is working. US. US is also working. Why this one is not working? France. France is working. Finland. Finland is working now. Okay. So this is EMEA. Denmark. Denmark is working. So this is how you build a multiple dependent dropdowns. All right. So the only issue here, you can see all of these regions or all of these data sources are hard-coded here. But I think this video is going to show you idea to solve problems like this. And of course, you can grab this information very easily with a little piece of code. You can grab these regions from a list of items in a spreadsheet like this. So this part, I'm going to leave it for you to explore Google Apps Script, and you can see the power here, right? Not a lot of code because most of them are comments, okay? But this is very interesting, basically idea or approach to solve problems like this. So here you can add multiple levels. You can keep going, okay? Doing things like this. It's actually not much about the code. It's about the, I don't know. It looks like a solution. So basically, you implement your solutions with a few lines of code, and you solve the problem. Okay. So call this one. This is for, and then you can optimize this code a little bit, because if you add it, if you update it, this region, you don't have to do this because they only can happen at once. Only every time you run this function, it either happen here or here or here. Okay, so if this is run successfully, we're going to end of the function here, maybe returned here, something like that. But that's not a big deal. Okay, as you can see here, the time is around half second. Okay, so I suggest you do the definition for your dropdowns here, because this is going to save you a lot of time. I mean the runtime for this script. So if you every time you want to access a tab here to grab the data from here, and then you update the data here, I think the time is going to be much longer than this one, than the current result here is much faster. So so basically that's it for this video. I think you can work on this part, how to build a data structure like this from the data in a spreadsheet, and you can use the data in this project, and then you can use this data and you can update the data here very easily instead of updating the data here, which is hard-coded. Okay, so that's it, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Bye-bye then.